I'm Jake.
And Alex.
And welcome back to the Movie Buff Reactions channel, and hope everybody's October is off to a good start. Today we're going to be reacting to the Cinema Snob's supersized review of Stephen King's The Stand, the 1994 one. I reacted to the 2020 Stand review he did, and I enjoyed the original Stand miniseries, at least the first half. It was definitely memorable, if I can say anything nice about the second half. You said you watched it when it came out?
I watched, I'm a huge Stephen King fan, and again, I watched it when it originally came out. It's definitely a large picture here, so that'll be interesting to see their take on it.
Definitely has a lot to cover. Brad really jumped on reviewing this right when the pandemic started last year. This came out in March or April of 2020, and he covers the whole fucking thing. So we got a lot to cover, and without further ado, let's watch.
All right.
Oh boy, you guys remember the floor season from 12 years ago? Well, that's gonna prove to be no match for, the war room season. I don't need any praying. I've got everything I need right here in my closet. I have got a Caligula reference. I've got a melodrama poster that kind of looks like a picture you'd find after a nuclear blast. This is all your fault, Saul. What else do I have here? I have got a pissin' cup. I've got a shitting cup. I have plenty of Mountain Dew Frostbite to freeze out the germs. And most importantly, I have all of the toilet paper I can eat.
That's devotion.
Naturally, though, I am also going to need some kind of movie to keep me distracted. And since I've already binge-watched through Seinfeld for the 20th time this month, perhaps a movie is exactly what I need. So let's see what the magic clip machine is giving me to watch this week. A deadly virus released by a government mistake.
The so-called super flu does not exist.
Stephen King's The Stand. Sure! Stephen King's 1994 miniseries The Stand makes me miss wildly ambitious network TV event miniseries and hand sanitizers. Based on the 1978 book of the same name, it took decades to bring this 823-page novel to a TV audience. The prospect of adapting the book started all the way back in the 70s, where at one point it was talked about being a George Romero theatrical feature, then a project with Laurel Entertainment's Richard Rubenstein, but fears of a gigantic budget made producers worried of the film flopping, and King worried that producers would demand too many studio notes. It also proved to be a difficult task in shortening King's 400 to 700-page screenplay drafts into a 2-hour running time. However, after the commercial success of the 1998 miniseries, King proved to have a bit of clout. So in 1994, we got the big-budget miniseries The Stand. The film was directed by Mick Garris, who King had previously worked with on Sleepwalkers, and the teleplay was by King himself. The 4 parts had a $6 million budget each. They were shot on 16mm, had cross-country locations amounting to 225 sets, plus 125 speaking roles. God, I miss this kind of event television, but I guess there's still water cooler shows today. I heard Drew Carey dressed as a llama sang It's Not Unusual. Riveting. If you need to know what The Stand is about, just smoke the most paranoid-inducing strand of weed you have and then watch the news. The first part, titled The Plague, aired on May 8th, in which a stream of influenza created by the military wipes out a majority of the world's population. Although, as you can see from this opening, America still survived, bro. Oh, wait, that's just the logo. My mistake. I'll write sentences on the chalkboard like the opening title card does. Wait a minute, T.S. Eliot? I think I know what caused the world to end. While this may be the Stephen King's Stand, it still opens which means Pennywise is gonna kill one of these kids. We'll know if this is Stephen King if they're riding their bikes to a Sweet Temptations montage. There appears to be some kind of breach at this base. Fans of Jericho have stormed the gates and pelted them with peanuts. Charlie knows that this outbreak is gonna be bad. That's why he's getting his family to the nearest refrigerator to survive whatever blast is coming. Yeah, you get out of there. I see MP stands for Major Pussy. You're safe. That fence will shield you from any kind of poisonous gas, and uh-oh, they left the gate open. We're screwed. What on earth let out this deadly virus that's gonna kill us all? Oh, Michael Myers did it. The very memorable opening credit sequence has Blue Oyster Cult playing over creepy shots of everyone
Yeah, I remember that.
walking dead.
This is a very
Clearly,
effective
Stephen
opening.
King's plan to stop Michael Crichton from making another adaptation of the Andromeda Strain. Oh, by the way, everyone is in this. Do you remember a person from TV in the 80s and 90s? Well, they're in this movie. Even directors that you like are in this.
Langalier's director.
And whoever put this song on the jukebox died before their next pick. Hush by Deep Purple. This truly must be the end of the world. It's a Stephen King movie, and I've yet to hear any Motown or doo-wop. Meanwhile, in Arnett, Texas, oh my God, the Nazi neighbor from Jack the Bear. I've been a little behind on my references for many years. Anyway, I'm sure they'll all be fine. They've been drinking a lifetime supply of Coors Light. That makes them immune to any poison. Charlie, however, needs some serious help at this gas station. Must be why he's clutching onto a silver shamrock mask. You may think the virus did this, but it's just the result of his family driving him mad after only 2 days of quarantine. Don't worry, we've got plenty of other locations to get to.
Space Foundation, June 19th, 2:45 a.m. Nothing special to report.
Am I going crazy, or was that from Nuki? This bullshit pandemic has caused General Hubble to put a temporary delay on his takeover of Alcatraz. I'm sure he'll make us feel calm.
It's nothing but a souped-up version of the flu. He says it'll probably mutate, but that's not going to help the people that catch it. Most people are going to think they've got the plain old, non-lethal flu right up to the very end.
Boy, am I glad this is taking my mind off the news. But hey, every base needs a glass that's half full.
Well, it's bad, General, but it could be worse. How's that?
Movie theaters could be shut down and Pulp Fiction is about to come out. Man, this is getting bleak. I need a palate cleanser. Cold got you down? Oh, okay, I must be watching a copy that's got the commercial breaks in it. Wait a minute, that was part of the movie?
I thought that was a
Guess it turned
commercial.
into RoboCop there for a few minutes. Makes sense. RoboCop's creator is in this. Arnett, Texas is about to be closed down. That's really going to hurt their tourism business.
Joe Bob
But it
Briggs.
won't hurt the underplaying.
What am I got? Whatever he had, that this guy last night? Oh, it's probably just the sniffles, that's all.
Someone's been listening to talk radio. You can tell this is a small town because of the guitar riff that comes with every small town sheriff. You know, these people really need to start being honest with each other about having the super flu. You're not being a very good officer. This is getting serious.
Get a 6-8 over now.
Good God, just tell them where number Johnny 5 is. Okay, this is either still part of the movie or they included an Apple Jacks commercial. Okay, so it's the movie. Also, big bullies! It could be worse guy should come in and tell them that at least they're not under a giant dome. Stewart here appears to be immune from the virus, but not immune from causing anger.
Will you come with us? Hey, get your hand on my arm, Hoss?
He's just taking precautions after he lost his family to radiation poisoning only found on Melmac. Seems kind of boring to be sick. They can't even share a Game Boy.
What the hell's wrong with us? Is it cholera? Absolutely not.
You can put on whatever mask you want. I can still tell you're Willie Tanner. Careful, or they'll have to resort to small talk.
They ain't been the scares since we caught Delta 69.
Everything Lieutenant Dan knows about Nam. This virus is
Yep, that's
weird.
Lieutenant
It's
Dan.
turned 1994 New York City into 1986 New York City. This is musician Larry Underwood. He's on his way to scream at the license plate guy for misspelling Digimon. But first he's got to go home and talk to Tony Monero's mom to get some advice on being a part of Satan's Alley.
The record's number 21 this week, Ma. With a bullet. Bam! The album hasn't hit the Hot 100 yet, but it will.
Oh, and one more thing. He needs help disposing of the 3 dead hookers in his trunk. Meanwhile, in a laboratory where they're concocting me a perfect Scanners reference, it's all fun and games here.
Ah, this is interesting. Now watch this.
They really did have fun after Chernobyl. Wait a minute, that's Bub from Day of the Dead. You would think of all people he would have succumbed to the virus. No time for that though. We gotta get to
Gunklin.
see Kingland. Dr. Kelso is protecting his daughter Fran from sitcom nerds.
Molly Ringwald.
Holy shit, it's Ali Sheedy! Don't know what the news is talking about. This is the sexiest virus I've ever seen. Too sexy for the damn nerd.
I was wondering if you would care to accompany me to the Redwood Cinema this Friday in Booth Bay. Oh, they're having a Bergman Festival.
What kind of cinema snob would end up with a hot girl? Maybe if Howard took off those fake zits from an 80s shenanigans comedy, he'd have a chance. This guy is made up to look like he should be playing the nerd in High Tops. It's interrupting Dad giving us a speech about his wife. Oh, Dad, you're so dead. Stewart is still immune to the virus. The only effect it's having is giving him that excellent Sonny Crockett shadow and causing more grumpiness.
No, we don't take cats here, just a precaution.
Reminds me of when I went into a 7-Eleven earlier. And why is there an Elmore Leonard book there? He specifically requested something from the Dark Tower series. How else will they face Randall Flagg? But over in Arkansas, the movie has upped its handsome budget. With Rob Lowe and Molly Ringwald in this, does this movie count as a Brat Pack film? No, wait, don't do
Maybe.
that. Not his face. Don't attack his face. TV viewership needs his sex appeal. This is Nick Andros, a deaf mute. Boy, it does not take long for this to get corny.
I can hear! I can talk! I can factually talk!
Why don't you keep it down? Ruby D is the wise Abigail Fremantle. Her power is resisting the urge to call everyone honey child.
There's a storm coming.
I had no idea Storm of the Century was ghost-written by a scarecrow. Nick is put in jail for his own protection. In the midst of a quarantine, the world needs Parks and Rec reruns now more than ever, and creepy doctors.
I'm gonna get somebody to take his shirt off before I go home tonight. It's okay. I'm a doctor.
Yeah, you're a doctor like Rob Lowe is a deaf mute.
It means that he's deaf and dumb.
I'm not sure that's exactly what he meant, but look, Rob, we need you to just stand there and look pretty. You don't have to say anything. Now let us take a commercial break so we can coat your chest with cocoa butter. Oh, thank God we're back from a break because it turns out this whole super flu thing is just a bunch of hoo-ha.
I don't know how many different ways I can say this. The so-called super flu does not exist.
Don't believe
Sound
me?
familiar?
I'm sure we got a Fox News correspondent around here somewhere.
Meet Geraldo.
They couldn't get the real Geraldo, so they felt it best to replace him with a guinea pig. But now the tables have turned, and it's going to be Bub making him read Salem's Lot. There's a lot of rules in this facility. For instance, if you attack one Gumby, you attack all Gumbies. Sure, everyone in his hometown may be dead, but there's still some words of wisdom.
All you have to do is resign yourself to a few more pokes and pranks.
See, that always works. On the plus side, sales of Foster's beer have skyrocketed, but Larry has to call in to say he's not going to make his Skinamax cameo for some reason.
The radio up here says the hospitals are filling up with sick people. And some of them are dying.
What, people are dying of the flu?
Oh, more people die from jumping out the window over fear of getting the flu. And why are these assholes playing these games when the Brothers arcade is right there. It's not like there's rats nearby, but a rat man, however.
The rat man forgive you this time.
Ah, good.
That guy.
Willie Lopez has come back as one of the demons. We really should have listened to all the warning signs.
And enter most interesting cameo in the film.
Yep.
It's coming for you, Larry. See, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is either a prophet or he's auditioning for Spamalot across the street. Anyway, in the
Or he's
Tiger
gone
King
nuts.
documentary, if they can't watch Roadhouse, they're gonna reenact the Ben Gazzara scenes themselves. It's gonna be so easy to rob shit in a post-virus world. Oh, nobody get hurt! Look out! Oh.
Quite heavy artillery.
Escalated quicker than the super flu. Perhaps all of the hallucinogens he took will protect him from the virus.
What's he doing there?
Does everything in this universe have to be peculiar? Oh shit, he's now got the Sonny Crockett shadow. He's also infected. I'm not sure their priorities are right. They're taking extra measures to make sure this does not turn into a found footage movie. You're also interrupting Ed Harris's monologue. Even with this being a TV movie, he is still great enough to possibly get an Oscar nod for it. Even with Proto Duddits here being the bigger Oscar bait, he's really moving up in the police force. So far, Rob Lowe's performance here is fine. Believe me, I've seen how TV movies of the early 90s can go super south with these characters and the people surrounding them.
Kirk Cameron.
Cabin up in the hills. I'm gonna try to wait this out. You can come with me if you want, Nick.
Stop trying to bang Rob Lowe with your cabin, horny doctor. Nick's got a good plan. Let out the prisoners in the hopes that at least one of them is an angel like John Coffey.
I got something for you, Beauty. That's saving up, you might say.
Okay, that's no angel. And
Yours
you're being
wasn't a
set
fart.
free. There's no prison rape in this county lockup anyway. Larry's got it worse. They're burning all of his albums. He looks kinda like Captain Rhodes. Is this whole thing a prequel to Day of the Dead? Guess this is a bad time to ask Ma to help him with the cost of his studio time. Come on, it's Apple Pucker. You love Apple Pucker. That'll get rid of the shakes in no time. I'm sure emergency
That is a
services are
touchy
busy.
scene.
The hospital phone is busy.
Cause zombies, bro. This is what it really should have looked like after Jason took Manhattan. The Left Behind series had it right. You don't need a lot of extras for that movie, just a whole lot of clothes. This doesn't even have anything to do with the virus. The Yankees just won the World Series. Someone bet against the Yankees. Meanwhile, at Stars Hollow, Dean is thankful that the doctor can stop trying to rub his muscles with Crisco. At the end of the day, we can't say that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar didn't try to warn us about Shaq Fu. I see Samantha Baker is still with us. No word on Farmer Ted, though. He's probably dead. Dad's still alive, however. Maybe he should monologue about Mom again to make him die faster. This is super serious, guys.
This flu is everywhere. It's really scary.
New York is now the last 5 minutes of Alex Proyas' knowing. You are underplaying this pandemic. Just listen to radio host Annie Wilkes. She's taking time
Yep,
out of
that's
reading
Kathy
all
Bates.
Sheldon fan fiction to tell us about this super flu.
Also, my little girl died this morning. Sorry as hell, Leonora.
These callers are bumming us out. Now let's talk about what would happen if Misery Chastain went to space. Unless someone shoots her off the air.
You ever heard of a little number called freedom of speech? Bill of Rights?
Guess not.
Damn, the Laura Ingraham show is going a little too far to get good ratings. You can stop ringing the bell. We all know that we're screwed. Death and bad hair have come to this country.
Rub-a-dub-dub. Thanks for the grub.
Oh God, Dog the Bounty Hunter is still with us. And he's taking Kareem's soul to improve his jump shot. I guess if you're a survivor in this world, you automatically get visions from Mother Abigail.
Rats are in the gloom. Follow you, ma'am.
Can't tell Stephen King wrote this adaptation. Well, anyway, that was weird. Next, Victor Pascal's gonna tell him not to bury $300 cemetery. Unfortunately, Bub just got done shooting Larry, and he needs someone else to salute. Stewart most certainly will not choke on him. Eating undercooked testicles is how this virus began to begin with. The good news is that it's 28 days later, and he's free to go off into the post-apocalyptic world. Also, it's a slasher movie for a few minutes because Sick Doc is back. The brain, you idiot! Shoot the brain! This hospital really sucks. They couldn't even heal their own, and some of them seem a little batty.
Come down and eat chicken with me, beautiful. It's so dark.
Great, when one horny doctor dies, another reemerges. Hey, hang on, I recognize that white t-shirt and blue sweatpants. I know exactly which hospital he escaped from. How come I didn't get any visions from Mrs. Butterworth?
You come see me, you and all your friends.
Yes, and please do so quickly because my shitting cup is nearly full. Or is that my pissing cup? Not really sure. Not that it matters anyway. I'm gonna end up eating it, drinking it anyway.
The refrigerator is good timing to start worrying.
Huh?
But, yeah, that's the snobs. Like, this review was released in separate parts through Patreon before being clumped together as one big-ass review. So it gives us the opportunity to talk in between. What'd you think of Brad's review of part 1?
A lot of the references in there went over my head, but overall I thought it was a good review. The original film itself is pretty terrifying, especially with what's gone on over the last couple of years.
I guess the Day of the Dead stuff is what you kind of didn't get.
Well, yeah, there are a couple of references, yeah.
Yeah, Bub, like the featured zombie of that film, is the doctor that's treating Stu, played by Gary Sinise.
Yep.
I watched The Stand a couple months ago, and episode 1 I found was actually pretty damn good. And not just because it's relatable, given everything going on, but it was genuinely thrilling. There's like 6 to 9 different stories going on all at once, and I found that Stephen King did a very good job of balancing each story, cutting back and forth, and giving them equal amounts of time and development. So it never felt like one was getting more time than the other.
You can definitely feel civilization breaking down in this first episode, and I thought it was a very effective episode, yeah.
Yeah, especially through the stuff with the news people getting shot and beat up, and Ed Harris trying to downplay the virus when talking to the press.
Yeah, a lot of interesting cameos and lots of actors throughout the 80s and 90s that played roles here.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's cameo is by far the most what the fuck cameo in The Stand. He just appears, ringing the bell. He didn't show it here, but in the miniseries there's a part where he just belts out, "Bring out your dead!"
I wonder if he reached out or if Stephen King reached out to him. Who knows?
I know that Kathy Bates was given her role just because Stephen King really loves her, and I guess after Misery, he just wanted to use her as much as possible.
Yeah, it seems like, it does seem like there's the universe, the Stephen King universe is definitely at work here. I will be interested to see just how they play the whole Dark Tower piece throughout the rest of the review here and the other episodes, because that's something that I read up all last summer, the Dark Tower series. So.
The villain of that series is supposed to be Randall Flagg, the antagonist of this series. So I think you'll enjoy what he has to say about comparing him to the Dark Tower movie.
Yeah.
Without further ado, here's part 2, where we're still kind of focused on the virus aspect, and as I said, the breakdown of society, and hopefully it still brings back good memories for you.
Well, define good.
TV audiences had to wait a whole day to get to the second part of the Stan miniseries titled The Dreams, which aired on May 9th. Sure, the first part had dreams in it too, but in this one, the survivors are dreaming of dancing boxes of cream of wheat, even though we just talked about part
Speaking of which,
one.
Stu walked out of that hospital with no shoes.
Seconds ago,
He's
I'm here to
barefoot.
oblige. 99.4% of the world's population is now
Yeah, plenty
dead
of available
because
food.
this asshole Charlie didn't stay put when the weaponized virus reached his base. There was some
Selfish
other stuff
soldier.
that happened too. We found out that Parker Lewis can in fact lose, and we saw the Rat Man before he became the Rat King. Thus, we finally have an explanation as to what really caused the world to end in 2019.
Another good review.
New York. Also, Dr. Soames was in Leprechaun. This series has hundreds of people in it. I can't make reference jokes for every one of them. Sure, the world may be over, but I'm sure part 2 will start on a happy note.
Amazing grace.
Great, now you just have to sing that billions more times. And we've already seen what happened when Dr. Cox convinced others Dr. Kelso was dead. Ted will be happy and the others will go on working. Fran must already be going through a food shortage. She's turning Dad into a giant burrito. And don't ask for Harold's help. He's also Ted Bundy. And he has a knack for making moving Dad's dead body even more awkward.
I'm so hot and tired. Could you please help me?
Of course. If only he was able to finish creating a girl with his computer, he'd be a lot more smooth. Except his face. He may be immune to the super flu, but not to adult acne. It's important we all remember he still grew up in an 80s comedy.
All those guys who used to give me wedgies in gym class. All the girls used to laugh at the way I walked.
Is this just someone's Brian and Claire Breakfast Club fan fiction? Does this movie really need a
Times
high
it
school
could be.
sitcom? Will they, won't they?
Can you ride a motorcycle?
Yeah. Jess taught me.
Yeah, that's your boyfriend.
Well, not anymore.
Positive sign of the world ending. Fran is single again.
You know, maybe I could be.
Harold, we're always gonna be friends.
But unfortunately, the only place you can be walled off from the virus is the friend zone. This is a 6-hour mini-series. It's gonna have to do something to maintain my attention. Well played, mini-series. Appealing to my love for Crowded House. I shall
Not a bad
continue
soundtrack.
watching you then. Between Don't Dream It's Over in part 2 and Don't Fear the Reaper in part 1, the series is very good at using music and montage to show us the death and destruction that the virus has caused all over the world. Both are great ways at setting the mood very early in their individual parts of the series, and I've seen enough bleak future movies to know that Larry needs to be left alive. The world needs clones of Ewan McGregor. Here he runs into Laura Sanji
This girl is
going
crazy.
around asking people to just shoot me. Is there gonna be a romance between Larry and Nadine?
I'm glad to see you too.
Great. Only 2 people left in New York, and he still ends up with a crazy woman from a stalker thriller. The good news, though, is that they find the body of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They can put his tennis shoes on eBay. Plus, the kitchens in the New York restaurants still work. If only Romero directed this, they'd be dining out at the nearest shopping mall they could find. Some of the survivors, like Larry, are having dreams of Mother Abigail to get their asses to Nebraska, while others are having dreams of what looks to be a new show coming to the 1994 fall lineup on the USA Network. And what the hell happened to Miguel Ferrer from part 1? Hey, can anyone hear me? Sucks to be you. Relax, though, the comic relief is well on his way. Edward Nygma just got a little behind on assembling his perfect costume. This is the Trash Can Man, and in a world of everyone having visions,
The Randy
trash
Quaid.
may be the craziest.
That's actually Matt Frewer, Max Headroom.
Stick me in the nuthatch and give you 2,000 shock treatment.
It also helps that he comes with the close-up, crazy voices, camera angles, and his action scenes come in super slow motion. spend that $6 million per episode somehow. And he's still not even the most peculiar thing in this scene.
I will place you high in my council's trash, and I will set you.
Wow, none of the Crow sequels match to the tone of the first. And Trash's rambling has nothing on Mother Abigail's.
Once in every generation, plague shall fall among them. That's what's in the book. Seems like you maybe went a little too far this time.
Great grandma dropped her meds down the sink again.
Rats in the corn, Lord. And the rats are his, ain't they?
Also, your corn sucks. You always talk about rats in the corn, but then you never go the extra mile of actually spraying the corn. Abigail is here to do the Lord's bidding in the post-apocalyptic fight for good versus evil, and to entice viewers in a sing-along.
What a friend we have in Jesus.
Boo, play some Johnny Hates Jazz. She fights against the evil Randall Flagg, sorcerer and servant of the Outer Dark, who has been featured in several Stephen King novels, always hell-bent on crushing civilization. But this time, has Randall met his match in his first Stephen King appearance?
Dear Lord, take this evil vision from my sight.
It's becoming more appropriate that I'm reviewing this from a war room. $10 says Mother Abigail definitely has one of those. But after Henry Bowers was found dead, Randall figures that Miguel Ferrer's Lloyd will do just fine. In times of a pandemic, everyone definitely needs a Lloyd by their side. I've got my Lloyd out there right now keeping day watch. Idiot! He can stay in a stupid closet for as long as he wants. That just gives me more room to run around and watch all the 911 Lone Star I want. Sure, Jamie Sheridan may
There he is.
Randall Flagg, but he looks nothing like Matthew McConaughey. Back with Larry and Nadine, though, spirits are broken when they find out that Boomer did not live. Fighting already? The third act breakup is supposed to happen in part 3.
You have fun getting raped and murdered back on 7th Avenue, sweetheart.
Great, now they're just stealing
Nice
lines
guy.
from when Harry met Sally. Not since Daylight with Sylvester Stallone has it been a better idea to take the bridge. Some people have better priorities, like traveling for miles on end to say, "Aloha, Mr. Hand."
That is him.
Got a righteous glare.
The answer is yes. Yes, you should clang two symbols together. Ray Walston plays former college professor Glenn Bateman, but no time for that. Larry and Nadine have made up hard. The moment is ruined, though, when, like always, he pictures old singing black women when having sex. And she, on the other hand, pictures herself on every romance novel cover ever. And I would picture myself
Does kinda
taking
look
a
like
commercial
that.
break. I'm alone in a closet. I've got to masturbate to something.
Gotta love the old stingers.
I'm sensing a little trouble in paradise because while Judd Hirsch may be dead from the virus, dear John letters have survived. Dear Mary, turns out the phrase, "if you were the last man on earth," is a bunch of hooey. I'm leaving. 18. As if that weren't bad enough, some movie theaters are still open, but they're clearly only showing Pureflix movies. And it hasn't taken Charlton Heston long to set up a whole town of mannequins. Just kidding.
Trying to meet the
Heston
most,
isn't in this, but
memorable
it's still
supporting
a
character.
apocalypse.
Hey, mister, watch out!
I guess he's deaf, dumb, and blind. This is Bill Fagerbach as Tom Cullen.
Look at that.
You may
Coach.
say Patrick from SpongeBob, but to me, he'll always be Dauber. Though here, he may be
I'm from the
Dauber and
Patrick
Patrick's
generation.
even slower cousin.
Thanks. Decoration is my hobby. M-O-O-N. That spells hobby.
Great,
Yep.
they're both gonna kill each
This
other on
thing.
who gets to play Lenny in the Mannequins production of Mice and Men. Oh, and he can't read either, because of course he can't. And this is the remaining 4 hours of the movie series. And you were worried this movie wouldn't go the full little piece of heaven.
You're just like
advice to Tom on becoming a new father. So they're gonna go see Mother Abigail too. You'd think she could give Tom a brain, but we've seen what happened to this scarecrow on her farm. I guess the main symptom of surviving the super flu is that you keep seeing the color purple. Some of these visions don't even need to be said.
Stay away from Maurice, Texas.
Damn, and I was so planning on going there. That's mainly what part 2 is about. Deciding on whether to go see Abigail or Randall.
Wanna come with me?
Why not? Oh my god, a talking dog, sorry, Ray. Since Ray's been banned from the Silver Streak, I guess they're gonna have to hike it to Nebraska. And because this is Stephen King, even the apocalypse will still have a home for bikers and racers.
Wow.
Never mind.
Look at that
It's
getup.
Harold and Fran. Harold's just going through his own Maxwell Caulfield from Grease 2 transition. Oh, they're all heading in the same direction, and since it's the apocalypse, there's gotta be a love triangle.
I hardly think you're the best judge of that. I don't like the looks of it. This one in particular.
I'm sorry, but does Molly Ringwald always need to bring around Ducky? Sure, give him a beer, that'll loosen him up. Stu is a dozen six-packs in, and he's looking more badass by the minute. Harold, meanwhile, still sucks. Oh my god, I never thought I'd be so thankful to be back with adult baby Huey. So far, the most unrealistic thing about this movie is that the pharmacy is fully stocked. Yes, I knew if they waited long enough, one of the mannequins would come to life. But with this being a McCarthy-less Brat Pack movie, that's not enough power to bring back Kim Cattrall, so instead it's Shawnee Smith. What? Shawnee Smith? Blah blah something Saw reference. I'm hilarious. Anyway, they're both hot. Let's hook them up.
Do all Daphne have such big guns?
Just turn into a porn already. You already kinda started out as a softcore Shannon Weary movie. I recognize this kind of facial acting. He's trying to decide on which one of these two he should slap.
They almost have that crying just like me. What?
He's still a better travel companion than Harold. This whole thing is what happens when shenanigans comedy characters are trapped in a drama.
You and your stupid freak friend are gonna get both of you guys.
Far be it from me to already deem this miniseries hit or miss. And then they're off. They're gonna raise money along the way by challenging people at arcade games. Say, mister, you wanna be annoyed to death? You should drive us to Nebraska.
My friend can't talk. He's deaf and dumb. But he's smart.
Their story makes see no evil, hear no evil look like flowers for Algernon. But the power of music has survived as Corey Taylor is rocking the hell
Interesting
out
new look.
outside of Des Moines. It took the world ending to bring us the most badass album cover I've ever seen. But in the Utah Badlands, Matt Frewer is still making this apocalypse hilarious. He survived because Max Headroom is mostly a special effect anyway. But the Amazing Race has finished because these are the first to arrive at Mother Abigail's sponsored high school reunion.
Granny lady?
What, honey?
Are you the oldest lady in the world?
Cute. Now it's gonna be less awkward when Tom asks her if she's just Tyler Perry in a dress. Tom may be the Badlands, but that just means the Latter-day Saints commercials have moved over to Nebraska. Mother Abigail has her work cut out for her.
God bless the child that's got a home.
For instance, keeping Tom away from the children. Since the rooster passed away, everyone gets woken up by Nick taking his Diet Coke break. There's a fine line between old person makeup and Freddy Krueger makeup. Everyone's now sick and tired of the corn tasting suspiciously like rat shit, so they're off to California way. That be the promised land. And it's safe to say we are in another Great Depression. Things seem alright in alternate universe Hill Valley, where Randall is in charge of everything, I guess. Trash tried to go to Nebraska, but there was no one there. Although he still took some of her baby's makeup, it seems way better to be a part of Randall's gang. They've got nice suits and have Vegas all to themselves. These poor saps are stuck in Boulder, and Nick has to pretend like he can hear what she's saying. He's deaf and can't read the back of her head. This is such a vision of hope in this fight of good versus evil. They must leave us with some inspiring words.
M-O-N. Spells parade.
Okay, something more inspiring than that.
Help us to be true, dear Lord. Help us to stand.
Wait, Stand? Is it The Stand? Is that what I've been watching? This whole time I thought I'd been watching The Strand. No matter. Since we're halfway through the mini-series, best check in with my guardian, who I think is having a Rob Lowe marathon all of his own.
And now it's time for Lloyd's Out of Context 911 Lone Star Clip of the Week, the season finale edition.
You're calling from outer space?
And this has been Lloyd's Out of Context 911 Lone Star Clip of the Week. It only took one season to go to space.
And that's the end of part 2. Just to clear that up a little, a running gag that he's been doing the past year or two is whenever he does a commercial break, when it's on at least, he'll have Lloyd, his cat, who he also voices, show a clip from the show, 911 Lone Star, that Rob Lowe's the star of.
Okay.
And based on the clips that he's shown, it's a pretty insane show. Like, there's pools being set on fire, buildings collapsing, dust clouds, and it's supposed to be like about 911 dispatchers.
Oh, never seen it.
I wouldn't even know about it if it wasn't for Brad and,
Lloyd, of course.
well, yeah, Brad and Lloyd. And part 2 of The Stand. I remember when I watched it, I thought, not as good as part 1, but I could still go with it.
Yeah, you can definitely feel things starting to slip away a little bit, and it's getting further from the plague narrative. Even though one of the most indelible scenes of the entire miniseries, I think, was that tunnel, you know, where all the cars there were broken down. So that was pretty epic.
Yeah, there was some reasonable tension there. Also, I thought that there wasn't as much focus, even focus on the different characters. Like the Stu, Fran, and Harold characters. They meet, but then they kind of disappear for the last half of the special.
Yeah.
And the Harold character, for the first 2 episodes, he's just kind of an annoying dork. The characters I thought got the best focus in part 2 were the Nick and Tom characters.
Is that the Rob Lowe and the Dauber character?
Bill Fagerbacke,
Yeah.
And speaking of which, I forgot to mention part 1. I thought it was interesting that they cast Rob Lowe as Nick, the deaf, mute character. Seems a bit against type for him, but for the most part, I think he did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I think it works. But I would agree. You had said something about in the first episode how he did a nice job connecting all of the different character narratives, whereas here it's just not as tight.
Yeah.
There's a lot of kind of random pieces
And
that are forced together.
Bill Fagerbacke as Tom Cullen. What do you think of him?
Well, I'm biased from the coach perspective. I think the character works. Although it's definitely comic relief in the MOON. At least initially, it's that comic relief of the mannequins. Does it get a little old? Probably, towards the end of the second episode.
Yeah, I mean, the character is supposed to be mentally handicapped, but this is a 1990s mentally handicapped character. And when I watched Bill Fagerbacke's performance, all I could think of was that scene from Tropic Thunder of Robert Downey Jr. saying, "Never go full retard."
Oh.
And I think that's kind of what he did here. Like, he just played a character who's supposed to be all around dumb. Doesn't really give him any sense that he understands anything.
But I found the mannequin scene intriguing. How he
Yeah.
created his own little universe. So I did like that part.
However, despite him not being probably the best performance of this type of character, I did like him as Tom, because Bill Fagerbacke, he's a gentle giant overall.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he brings a lot of warmth to this character. The only thing about his character that really got on my nerves was the MOON thing.
Yeah.
Because you count episodes 3 and 4, he does that probably 50 to 70 times.
And the first 6, 10 maybe work. But then it does get old very quickly, yeah.
Yeah, it just kept going on and on and on. And one last flaw I'll mention is Matt Frewer as the trash can man.
Yeah.
I'll say it, I never really liked that character. In the book, maybe they develop him more, but in the miniseries, he just comes out of nowhere, and you really have to like pay attention to kind of get what he's all about. He just jumps in and he's acting all crazy, mumbling gibberish. And give Matt Frewer this, he does know how to put on a wild performance. Just maybe if they had a brief scene in episode 1 before they just threw him in here blowing shit up.
I agree. I mean, the introduction of the character could have been a little smoother. However, I do think it definitely feels Dark Tower-ish. From the book series, he definitely would have fit in very well, because that's another series where there's breakdown of civilization happening, the Dark Forces. And I think he would work very well inside of that series. So while it may be disconnected and the way that it was handled here could have been better, I think it works if you connect the multiverse.
Yeah.
So.
And some stuff I did like, as Brad pointed out, the soundtrack, the selection
Excellent.
of music.
But biased towards the 80s.
Randall Flagg, his introduction with the Lloyd character in jail. That's actually a very effective scene. This is the first time we'd seen Randall Flagg like full in the face. And Jamie Sheridan is just taking over the whole series. He's got a lot of charisma to play basically the Antichrist.
And it's such better casting than the movie version. I mean.
And they don't show it here. Brad didn't show it. But there's this great moment, a very impressive special effect for a 90s miniseries, where he puts a stone on the back of his hand, and then he curls in, turning into this side of the left hand.
Yeah.
Like, that is still like a kind of a, how did they do that moment for me.
No, I thought it was so much better casting than the Dark Tower movie, so
Yeah.
Definitely a much better Randall Flagg here. It kind of eerie and chilling, and that's what he's supposed to be.
I don't agree with what Brad said about Mother Abigail's makeup being that bad.
Yeah, I agree.
Because
Yeah.
she's supposed to be 106.
Little Yoda, right?
Yeah. So she's kind of supposed to, look a little mummified.
One thing I do agree, however, that Brad brought up in the first episode there, and then brought it into the second as well, is it really does make you miss like that grand production of the TV movie, the TV miniseries, and what they were able to accomplish. You just don't see anymore, even in terms of TV series put out by the networks nowadays. There's nothing nearly as ambitious as this. This was a huge, ambitious project. And you get the sense, even as it gets into the second episode, they're introducing new subplots, right? And they keep going. And, even though it had starting to see cracks in it, it does still remain, it keeps that fidelity for the storyline.
They did do a 2020 remake of The Stand, but we'll get into that later. And as many flaws as I have with this, they pale in comparison to the new one. So, without further ado, let's get into part 3, the episode where things start to go downhill a bit.
I know that during the commercial break, there may be a lot of you who have forgotten about part 2 of the miniseries. So to recap, I went through the entire episode without a single Children of the Corn reference, and I'm so proud of myself. Part 3 was
I'd be more ashamed if I missed that.
This was the days before binge watching, and viewers had to wait not 1, but 2 whole days for this part, which aired on May 11th of 1994. The episode is titled The Betrayal, which clearly has to do with Abigail starting the rumor that Randall's face looks so fat in that wig. You're asking me what's going on here? You're asking the wrong person. I feel like an episode did happen on May 10th. We just never saw it. is here now, and I have no clue what happened to this guy or who he even is.
We don't need to.
What do you mean? We're almost there.
When did he become a doctor?
That's
Who's dead? Well, his name is Mark, and he was important enough to have John F. Kennedy give his eulogy. And why is Harold 8 feet
Obscure
tall
joke.
now? It's okay, dear. I too wish it was Harold we were burying. And never say that a funeral ain't the perfect place for sexual tension.
Where did this come from?
Again, are they together now? I feel like I'm missing several hundred pages. And at least the economy survived, and so did establishing shots from a David Dakota movie. They must be together. He has to listen to her talk about her dreams.
By far the worst one yet. There were all these crosses on Highway 15.
Stop having wet dreams about the Klan. It's okay though. Stu is having dreams too. Was it Dreams Part 2?
I dreamed about when I marked out. Last night I drew the old lady.
I still don't know who Mark is. Why does every sci-fi TV group need a Nikki and Paolo? I better be quiet though. They're about to drop a bigger bombshell than in an 80s Cold War made-for-TV movie.
Sleeping pills in this little traveling pharmacy. You can ask me to give you one.
I'm afraid it'll hurt the baby.
Well, if the fetus is jealous of her spleen getting too close to her liver, we'll know it's Harold's. But in this next shot, I think we know who the father is.
In the book, it's her ex-boyfriend's
It's
baby.
Jake Ryan! Meanwhile, the screenwriter of The Last American Virgin is having some writer's block about what kind of ending to give it. He needs inspiration. Wait, he's got it now. Just make sure to add the creepy music.
Well, running
Now we
gag
know
he
it's a
does.
religious movie. Our hero is unnecessarily creepy. We should probably tell Harold now just to get it over with. It's gonna be awkward no matter when we tell him.
I love you, Franny.
Thank you, Harold.
Why does the end of the world always have to be so dramatic? But it's all good. I so trust you to be cool.
Still friends, right, guys?
Of course.
Yeah. Good
I
team.
don't think I'd want to
Now
be
we
friends
saw
with him
him beat
after
his own
that.
chest to cause bruising and to clutch his fist so hard
Yeah.
he makes his hand bleed. Killer Nerd has nothing on this guy. It's safer in Vegas than it is in Harold's head. What are you idiots doing outside? The topless girls are inside. Danny McBride is doing a terrible job keeping watch. The trash man wakes up having no clue that a hooker stole his wallet and his kidney and only left him with a bad special effect.
And one life.
Wow, that looks bad.
Yeah.
Is that just how he sees the world now because of Lawnmower Man 2? I sense Vegas shenanigans. Trash Can Man, Rat Man, and Lloyd have to search for Randall because they lost him during a huge night of binge drinking. They're gonna get into some crazy situations retracing their steps. Oh, there's Randall. Well, that was quick. This feels all too real. 99.4% of the population may be dead, but that still can't get you out of Sunday dinner. They're all here to join up with Abigail's army in defeating those no-good zombies. Well, almost all of them.
Harold's gone.
Well, come on in. I made some lemonade.
Even Mother Abigail, the symbol of all that is good in the world, cannot pretend to give a shit about Harold. Some of this is reminding me of another author. I can't think of who.
Danielle Steele, I think.
Ah, that's it. Wait, what? Is Randall Flagg now in my head? Why, that's something out of that one guy's novels.
Stephen King himself.
Right, Stephen King, that's who I'm thinking of. What the hell? Jesus Christ! This is a magical movie. King does not want to go to Mother Abigail's because he remembers what happened the last time he set foot on a
He
farm.
loves writing himself.
Apparently, Boulder is so unpopular, it needs a Boulder-free zone to keep anything reminding anyone of Boulder out of it. I can't put my finger on it, but this whole thing seems like the Andromeda strain meets Cocoon. King, you diabolical mowers when I made that Job's War reference earlier? I think I know why part 3 is so confusing. It didn't start out with a music montage like the previous 2, so I'm gonna have to add my own. And sweet Chris Christopherson is here now. King decides to give farmers a second chance, and Nadine, meanwhile, has been sent in undercover by Flag to infiltrate Mother Abigail's group. Good thing he picked someone who's clearly mentally stable. Would you need to be in this group?
I'm Marcy Caller in Cleveland. I dreamed of it too.
At the end of the day, does it matter if you're with Abigail or Randall? You're still joining a cult. Both also have electricity.
Good way to put
They
it.
got their power back. All they had to do was unplug and replug the damn thing in. Yay, we don't have to watch The Stand anymore. We can all gather around and watch America, bro. Sure, the music may sound happy because of this.
Yeah.
But the town still stinks because of the hundreds of dead bodies. It's okay,
Yeah.
we can just pray the dead bodies away.
We need an army of believers, Lord, that hate to be in the
Religious
war.
movie War Room.
Everyone's broken marriages were saved. Guess we're all kind of obligated to go to church now. Okay, fine. But I put in Jolly Ranchers in the donation tray. Well, this is all good with me. Gary Sinise is so cool that I join whatever the hell religion this is. I think it's the religion of America.
Oh, say, can you
Honey, don't make this awkward. That's Harold's job. Maybe you should all actually start a baseball team first. After all, you built a baseball field in the middle of Abigail's cornfield for whatever reason. And now Nick and Tom will lead us in a rendition of, huh? What? Why? They named the wrong characters Harry and Lloyd. Are we gonna get to the preaching or what?
I'll make this as painless as possible so we can all get out of here and have a beer.
Sounds good.
Best preacher ever. I hope this is what the whole third part is. Just roll call. They're announcing the official Boulder Free Zone Committee, which is really them just listing all the main characters on the show, which unfortunately still includes Harold. He could be the town nice guy. I say we're all set.
Those in favor of accepting the committee as it stands? Opposed?
Me. Keep saying that. Like any other normal person, though, Abigail has announced that she's getting the hell out of there.
She scribbled a reference at the bottom. Proverbs 11, verse 3.
It reads, I'm sick and tired of their shit. She was just annoyed by the constant bickering at what to call the virus. Most called it the super flu, some called it Captain Trips, and then these two idiots kept calling it the California virus. Anyway, guess we should look into that Randall Flag and his plan to defeat us with nukes. Ah, a sweet jam session will do. Why is this turning into the cult from the apple? Perhaps now Nadine and Larry can restart their hot love affair.
Yeah, go inside, baby.
I'm sorry, can we hold another town meeting on who is coupled with who? This series is collecting enough love triangles to make a giant star. It'd save a lot of drama if just one of them would hook up with Harold, and I'd still feel lost.
You come here and you look right through my wife. Your wife, that's right.
I'm sorry, your wife? I'm just as surprised as Nadine. But Harold
There's a lot
accidentally
happening off
went to
screen.
Nadine's place. Classic Harold. She should probably bang him.
But remember who you really belong to.
That's right. You will always be manimals, apparently. I need to take another commercial
Obscure 80s
break.
show.
Just no one couple with anyone else while I'm gone, please. Okay, I don't think anyone else is hooked up. Although with Mother Abigail gone, the sweet potato pie at the church potluck is now terrible. And so is the conversation.
All he needs is one guy to target some scum missile with an A-bomb on.
Please, no politics at the table. They're considering sending and spies all of their own, but you don't need a spy to tell you that everyone has a crush on Stu.
You're awful cute when you get angry, Stu.
And then Larry gets pregnant. They're running out of things to do, so they barge into Tom's date with his mannequin family to hypnotize him into having sex with a chicken.
Rock-a-bye, baby.
Oh, right, and him being mentally challenged also means he's magical. He tells them all about Randall and whether he has missiles or an army he's training, and also whether Randall has a Whataburger because they're stuck with a Wiener Schnitzel. This is all part of sending in Tom undercover with quite an excuse.
You drove me out because you were afraid I might have a woman and fill her belly up with a retard like me.
This series is not winning a Humanitas Award.
What's that?
An award for TV shows that don't use words like retarded.
That's retarded. And queer.
Also, can you hypnotize him to go back in time to tell me to call him the Proto-Duddits and not Nick? This zone still isn't immune to disaster, as their newly elected priest has bored the congregation to death. And Harold still sucks. Thank God that after weeks, they finally got rid of the dead bodies after finding out the hard way that they do not taste like chicken. You think cleaning up the bodies is bad? Nadine still has to seduce Harold.
Come on in. It is your house after all, isn't it?
I see nothing bad.
He gets that whole house to
Boy,
himself.
is this ever a testament to her loyalty to Randall Flagg.
And what's that smell?
She took one of the dead bodies and made use of Hamburger Helper. Yeah, we get to see what he'd be like if he had gone out on a date with Fran. He'd be weird and quiet. Yeah, sure, I'll drink whatever you give me. Harold is gonna finally get laid.
Friendship.
Ooh, once again, Randall has sent in a spy to penetrate the friend zone. All I see here is a teenage Ted Bundy about ready to butcher his first victim, as directed by David Lynch for some reason. In a more wholesome side of town, the judge and Larry are having a laugh about how neither community wanted Kirk Cameron. The judge is also told to be sent in as a spy, and wait a minute, is this just their plan to get rid of all the black people? Did that also come to you in one of your clan dreams? I guess this plot is the less weird one. She successfully turned Harold into not just a man, but Lex Luthor.
She was mine. And the committee.
Well, that settles it. Harold and Nadine are the committee's picks to reboot Silk Stockings. Anyway, this tastes like mind control poison. Whatever, pretty lady. The hell, they're getting rid of the mentally handicapped people too? Nazi town! They're releasing Tom into the wild to find himself a nice farm where he can chase chickens, tip cows, and run aimlessly through 40 acres. I take it Tom will leave them with a very meaningful quote.
I hate being retarded.
Proverbs 15. Fran, meanwhile, is doing just fine in her pregnancy, but no one has the heart to tell her that before all of this, the doctor was a UPS driver. She'd probably have better luck having Harold deliver her baby.
You look so tasty.
Oh.
So cheesy.
So
Then
Greg.
again, Harold would definitely eat the baby. After Nadine's Hamburger Helper, he finally developed a taste for human flesh. Speaking of spies, I think I know what's going on here. Tom has caught Trash building a bomb or something like that. I don't know, I still need some music beats. They've saved the music for the last act in the episode, with Harold starring in his own Saturday morning sitcom. The super flu fever is deadly, but the boogie fever, now that's the kind of fever I can get behind.
Don't screw with my disco, Nadine.
Oh my God, Harold's motto is my motto, and I'm starting to break out on my face too. Does Harold no longer suck?
Let me make a suggestion, my little disco queen. Make like a library and book.
What an awful
I've been
one-liner.
seduced by Harold's love for disco. I too want to join Harold's army now. I've drank the wine. He he's on the right track. They're putting a bomb in Stu and Fran's place to get rid of all the love triangles. It's good for the story. Like all Stephen King works, this one really gets me in the nostalgia feels. This is a nice throwback to what the world was like before Netflix, Hulu, and Disney Plus. It also would worship the hell out of Oprah, who was always walking down the street half asleep in 1994.
Now she's starting to look dead.
Camp meetings.
The law committee held 4 meetings last week in order to finalize the regulations and procedures to establish.
Stupid meetings, so boring. Someone streak through the living room, please, or set off a bomb.
Do it, Harold, do it!
Yes, streak.
Boom.
Or set off a bomb. At least someone is having a proper 4th of July party. It's okay, not only are the cheesy visions with Mother Abigail safe, but so is Fran's baby. The baby's fine. But don't forget, we need to give Nick and his blown to bits pieces their proper send.
Oh yeah, Rob Lowe's dead.
Yeah.
I can tell you care deeply about Nick, just as you did those other dead people.
Al Bundell. Angie Terminello. Dick Ellis.
Who? Oh God, Lloyd is giving poor Rob Lowe a better tribute.
And now it's time for a bonus Rob Lowe-centric 911 Lone Star clip of the week. And this has been a bonus out of context 911 Lone Star clip of the week. R.I.P. Nick Andrews.
He's not the only one dead. Abigail dies too from using the force too hard. Part human, part bundle of expired bananas in the clearance section. Now it's up to the men to go face Randall Flagg all on their own. Goodbye, honey. Oh, right. We met on the side of the road in part 2. It took me until now to remember that's how I met you and my adopted son.
I guess I'll go along too. I'm the only dog remaining, and I'm tired of humping Tom's mannequins.
And then they're off to Vegas, but not before dying of starvation in the mountains. Couldn't someone have given them a car? They were too cowardly to ask, should we just eat the dog? Part 3 is near over. What is it gonna do to make us yearn for part 4? I'm assuming that's Crow for to be concluded. But you can't leave just yet. We've got a promo as to what's coming up in the finale. I've come this far. I'm obligated to watch. On second thought, I think I'll pass. I'm getting distinct Leprechaun 3 vibes. So long, folks. That's the end of the episode. Okay, fine. I'll finish watching The Stand.
So that was part 3. Did you enjoy Brad's riffing of it?
Absolutely, yeah, the riffing, yes. Because it definitely started degenerating here.
He spoke what I was thinking when it began. Like, did we miss 20, 30 minutes?
Yeah, that's just perplexing how they just jumped ahead kind of in the storyline with a lot of the character stories.
Yeah, like Ozzie Davis, the judge as they call him. In real life, he was married to Ruby Dee, who plays Mother Abigail. His character just came out of nowhere.
Yep.
And the part where Stu's operating, I'm like, did he have any experience in this?
Yep.
Why is he doing this? And also...
married now, and yep.
Oh, yeah, and also the Stu and Franny relationship. Maybe I'm alone in this. Like, a lot of people really like Gary Sinise in this, but I kind of find both Gary Sinise and Molly Ringwald, especially as the series goes on, to be kind of wooden at times.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Their relationship doesn't seem all that genuine, so
yeah,
it's kind of like they're play acting at being a couple.
I mean, I like Molly Ringwald in a lot of stuff. She was great in The Breakfast Club and the other 80s films, but I'm not sure she was a good match for a Stephen King story.
Yeah, I would agree, especially this story.
Yeah, and the part, just to list a few things that I took issue with in part 3, when Fran's like listing her dreams and shit. Everybody's talking about dreams that they share with each other. And while it's established that is what happens, that people are sharing these fucking dreams, everybody is almost a little too casual about it. Like, they're not acting like this is a big, mind-blowing thing.
Right. That there's this telepathic communication going on. It is the end of the world. Most humans are dead. They're just like, man, this is the next day. Guess what I dreamed about last night? Unicorns and ponies. I mean, no.
Yeah, it's just, it should be a lot bigger than it is.
Yeah.
And also, an issue I had with the latter episodes of The Stand is, I think the world, at least the town of Boulder that they show, looks a little too bright and colorful. I mean,
There'd be a lot of dead people around.
Yeah.
And if we saw the pictures there of other cities that went through some very tumultuous and violent periods, you'd think there'd be more destruction of the city.
Yeah.
There are fires somewhere. It's hard to believe that any city would have escaped some of that.
Yeah, exactly. I watched this and I don't believe this is the post-apocalypse. I believe they just rented out a couple of blocks to keep people out. Because everything looks it looks too nice and happy. And with the lighting that they go with, where everything's kind of bright, it almost looks more like a Hallmark movie than it does a Stephen King miniseries.
Now, I guess some things would still be normal. The sun would still come out, but yeah, it just seems like it's too close to like just a regular day.
The part where they send Tom to be a spy.
Good riddance.
With Randall Flagg. I remember I was like, why would you send him?
Yeah.
And they hypnotize him so that he'll remember his mission. I'm like, okay, why not send somebody who you doesn't need to remember, like who you wouldn't have to hypnotize?
This is the point where it starts to jump the shark a little bit, a little far-fetched, and talk about 90s insensitivity, huh?
I guess. Although, I will say, the part, I will admit it is a unintentionally funny line, but when Tom said before leaving, I hate being retarded, I'll be honest, I kind of felt that a little. I don't know if I've mentioned, it's probably been a while, but I have OCD, depression. I'm on the, I don't like mentioning this, I'm on the autism spectrum, so I kind of got and felt a little bit relatable to that line. Just feel like a mental illness is making you unable to follow through with stuff you need to do. So I know it's a weird thing to just bring up, but I didn't find that line as stupid as probably a lot of people did.
Yeah, I found it a little out of context and maybe not done. It wasn't really done with an empathetic manner, you know. I guess that's why I took issue with it.
Well, I guess it kind of depends. The stuff with Harold and Nadine, that was my favorite part of part 3.
I thought the character arc for Harold here is the one kind of saving grace of the third episode. His character got deeper. He's not just a caricature anymore.
He's honestly kind of unsettling now.
Yeah.
And even to the point that the Nadine character, who herself is pretty unsettling, is a little intimidated by him in one scene. Yeah, I found it believable. He was effective, and their relationship I found was very just interesting to watch.
I mean, she starts off as cringy in the whole mini-series, but I think she definitely she moves from cringy to weaselly, I think, and I think that's the whole point to her character.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Harold story arc I think was the best.
one last thing that I kind of like, well, two last things. First, Mother Abigail, she disappears at one point, and then she comes back, and the reason given for her disappearing, and I actually made a note about this, she leaves because she felt that she sinned in pride, sitting on the porch with all the pilgrims coming to her. This is a comment someone made. She felt that she lost sight of God's will, so she went to the wilderness, just as Jesus did, to make penance. Like, she felt like she became prideful in being the leader of the group. And I'm like, it's kind of a dumb reason to go away.
It doesn't really work here, in my opinion.
Yeah, like, she was never really that selfish. She just was happy to help them out.
She was the one that coordinated the entire team.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Although, as we will see, this, as Brad mentioned, this kind of does begin to have a cult mentality. And he skimmed over it here, but at the end of part 3, when Mother Abigail dies, at this point, crazy old bitch tells Stu, Larry, Ray Walston's character, and the other guy, can't remember his name, that they need to travel on foot from Colorado to Nevada with no food or water.
Yep.
And to face Randall Flagg. Yeah, no food or water, all on foot, and all I can think is, this is fucking bonkers.
Well, what good post-apocalypse movie or story does not have a cult figure, right?
Perhaps, but I feel like the cult figure, like, it should be the villain. And here it's starting to look a little bit misguided and a little insane. And I think this is a good place to take a quick break, and then we'll jump into part 4.
All right.
And welcome back. Now it's time to react to the Cinema Snob's review of part 4 of Stephen King's The Stand, and this is going to be quite an experience, not just to watch Brad talk about, but to relive the experience of watching part 4. And do you have much memory of part 4 from back in the day?
Not specifically, no, but lots of memories of Stephen King blowing the endings.
It's going to be quite an interesting ride.
Alright, time to finish out this mini-series, and wait, The Stand. A little late to be showing us the title of the movie, don't you think? I know I've had a lot of fun with Harold during this series, but I do want to point out just how much fun Corin Nemec is having in this role. He steals whole scenes from being 80s romantic lead creepy to comic book villain insane. I used to think Harold sucked, but with his turn to being deliberately evil, I can't wait for more scenes with this guy.
Oh, and
come on,
he's
just
out.
as I was starting to love Harold, did I curse him by simply saying he steals scenes? Whoa, hold on a sec, guys. I am sensing some plot points.
I think it's Harold. Something happened to him.
You seem more upset about Harold than you did Nick. You know, your friend that Harold blew up. Thankfully, though, Harold has his trusty soulmate alongside him.
Said it yourself, Harold. We're down.
I'm starting to think these two are not made for each other. Nadine is so treacherous that even the animals are judging her. Bitch! If you think all of this is bad, look, just don't turn on the news today, okay? The world keeps finding new ways to go to shit. I guess they still need Ozzie Davis as a spy. If only he'd stop getting distracted by roadside attractions.
Oh, that's an eye catcher.
Sweet deal. The lesson is half off. He's gotta make it through more towns filled with cameos. Sam Raimi is here playing the fake chef to Ted Raimi's cameo. Lloyd Ward's
Director of
the
Spider-Man and The Evil Dead.
Welcome director cameos. He's got his own problems. He's the stew of this town. The two are gonna compete on who is the bigger badass. On the plus
Miguel
side, you got
Ferrar.
Trash Man's birthday present, that cad.
Call me the doctor.
If you really are a doctor, maybe you should get to Colorado. This guy keeps trying to deliver packages, not babies. No time for that, though. That might be Spike Lee. Let's get him. Oops, sorry. Just Ozzie Davis. Perhaps at the least we could still ask him for a do the right thing autograph if we don't get into a roadside mishap. You bastard!
Oh,
You killed your own guy.
It would have been much easier if you just asked to see each other's insurance information, wouldn't it? Sure, Sam Raimi didn't follow Randall's orders exactly, but this is all just happening because Randall wasn't the biggest fan of Oz the Great and Powerful. And
Directed by
he still had
Sam
more
Raimi.
spies to worry about.
It's time to take your number 2.
This mini-series is 6 hours long. I assure you I've taken plenty of number 2s. And I can't get up now, otherwise I miss whatever the hell this shot is about. Oh, right. Dana's the other spy. My mistake. It's not like she had any kind of proper introduction.
Yeah, I completely forgot about
Smith
her.
made her intro, so I guess it's good that she's still around randomly.
He still looks
I
nuts.
figured out Dana is not a birthday present.
Try and stop me. I will do my very best to give you a sex change operation. Excuse me.
Mother Abigail's plans are weird. Here, take her to see Randall Flagg so he can exposition her to death.
You expected Charles Manson at the very least, didn't you?
Not really. You look way more like David Koresh. He's hell-bent on learning who the remaining spy is. That info is definitely spoon-fed to us.
All I can see. M-O-O-N. That spells moon.
You don't have to...
Doesn't justify the other 50 times in front of it.
100 times in this series. Randall just wants to get this over with so he can go back to solving mysteries by making a weapon out of a rubber band and an eraser. What kind of sadistic torture is he gonna do to her?
Well, that's it, dude.
Huh, well that was easy enough. Good one. Now she offed herself so she wouldn't have to see that special effect ever again. Who's the spy again?
M-O-O-N. Spells moon.
I know! To think, Shawnee was starting to get bored in this town, but thank God she found Tom so she could bully his ass again without the fear of Nick slapping her. And don't say that Harold didn't have some kind of arc before he blows his brains out. Here he fully admits that he was just thinking with his
The wind's gonna blow that away.
Harold. He's dead.
Perfect, we can now write a tribute song about him. Which, by the way, why did Larry bring his guitar? I said
No
take
food.
only what you need to survive. After Sam Raimi's death, though, I guess Randall's plan is to get rid of anyone who even reminds him of Spider-Man. So long, Tom Holland. Oh my God, no!
Director Tom Holland. Same name as the guy who plays Spider-Man now.
So hilariously in this series, lest you forget Nick exploding in the previous episode.
Independence Day
You should
83.
know Diane Wiest was a spy. Now it's a race to see who makes it to Vegas first. 55 miles may seem like a long walk, but hey, we've shown it's really no big deal to walk hundreds of miles to their destination. I'm sure after this, they're gonna feel plenty energized to fight the physical embodiment of evil if they're not worn out from all the hot sex. Impressive. Now can you summon me a damn car? After the lovemaking, of course.
No!
On second thought, bad special effects really aren't her fetish. Okay, guess we're not gonna talk about the rape, huh? Alright, fine.
Demonic
Thanks
rape.
for the car, though. Dick, Randall, and his devil face and fire penis are gonna be no match for George Burns and the Beaver Brown Band. But hey, Comic-Con is still going on. Right this way, Khaleesi. network television. Now get up there to your honeymoon suite, you lovebirds.
She's crazy about me, Lloyd. She can't get enough.
How is it that Jamie Sheridan is playing Randall Flagg more like Matthew McConaughey than even Matthew McConaughey did? Oh good, bring in Lloyd again to add further confusion whenever there's a character in these movies actually named Lloyd.
Huh? What? Talking to me? I'm too tired.
Big Ball Brown.
But while it may be touched by an angel in Colorado, it's Rosemary's Baby in Vegas.
She also has a bun in the old oven.
And the best part is, with Harold dead, they don't have to break the news to him. Not only does he find out about Tom being the spy, he's starting to regret getting rid of Dana. They may have needed her expertise. She actually was in Outbreak. Stress is really getting to him. With Harold dead, it's now up to Randall to steal every scene in the series. Sorry to fly off the handle like that. I gotta get downstairs and set up my renegade headshots. They think I'm Lorenzo Lamas. Not so fast. Still gotta deal with the old ball and chain.
They're saying a simple retarded boy outwitted Randall Flagg.
Well, we'll make sure to give them the proper canceling they deserve as soon as we get the internet. I'm starting to think the homicide unit in Vegas is not good at their job.
Well, that was pretty abrupt.
Women fall to their deaths from that floor before. They still got the bombs, though. Seems like overkill to take out one town. You know, if y'all just kept yourselves, you probably wouldn't even know the other group exists. You've got the whole world to just mind your own business. Anyway, another day, another woman's blood on the sidewalk. I guess this is starting to be too much for Randall's group. The daily riot's not enough?
So what do you say? Me? I'm sticking.
Why? Because I'm the stew of Vegas, the coolest man in town. I've got a prime slot on the committee. Tom, meanwhile, smells some food. Either Kentucky Fried Chicken or a Kentucky Fried Movie.
John Landis.
What was that?
And with this John Landis cameo, that definitely puts The Stand in the 1941 universe, as well as being in the universe of a Bush beer ad.
Come on,
Huh, well this is a pickle we're in. We could probably jump over this. Weirder things have happened. I guess I'll...
Or you could walk around.
Think of all the poop we can fill up this hole with. Guess you don't have better things to do. Fate of the world and all. Oh shit, guys, we didn't think this through. Now we gotta climb out of this stupid thing.
Piece of cake.
Good thing Mother Abigail sent her best and brightest. But this was all part of the plan, apparently.
Mother Abigail said one of us would fall all the way.
Yeah, I guess she was to be taken extremely literally.
This whole trip was based on the idea that Mother Abigail knew what she was talking about.
Did she, though? She didn't even give you guys a car. This poor sap got a car, and he didn't even make it the whole way. So Stu is staying behind. No, they're not equipped to handle Miguel Ferrer's
Yeah, I got a lot of
coolness all on
sadness
their
later.
own. They need Stu's badassery. It's okay, he's also gonna leave a note saying he was misled and that he shouldn't have followed that damn dog into the hole. Now they can use this commercial break to write another song. Something about thanks for the car, the broken down one in the damn ditch.
Billy Crystal's at the city slicker. Jack Allen in the network television premiere of Sunday, May 20.
Now that we're back, I don't know how to tell you this, but they could not come up with a proper song for Stu in the ditch, so they just made us sound alike for the future so bright I gotta wear shades. Never fear though, he may not be able to walk, but he's still the star of the series. I caught us something for dinner. I'm tired of roast roadkill. I'm gonna eat something that looks the most like a piece of poop. You can tell they've all been walking a long time, or at least one of them, because only Larry knew to grow out a rocket beard. Are we there yet?
So, here it is.
Where?
That's not Vegas. Thanks for the map reading, Indiana poop deck pappy. Well, that's quite an army they're up against. Do we we shoot him now or wait till we get home?
I wonder if you men might give me your social security numbers?
Diabolical! With this kind of police force, no wonder there's so many unsolved murders in Vegas.
Great.
Somewhere Shawnee Smith is getting the sense that someone is slap cheating on her.
Very good. You get the Rodney King Humanitarian Award for the day.
Yeah, that's the same. It's still a king verse, so we gotta get them to the nearest death row. Since mice didn't survive, this roach will be there, Mr. Jingles. And holy shit, Doug Hutchison is Randall Flagg! Randall knows how to seduce him. He cures his arthritis. He picked up this trick from an antique shop owner in Castle Rock. No dice, though, so he wants Lloyd to shoot him. But Lloyd has grown a conscience since shooting those old people earlier. That was so part 1. And part 4 as well, apparently. That's a bad boy.
I don't care. I'm dreaming of running through fields of yarn and calling 911.
It didn't take these too long to become each other's bitch. Just when you think it couldn't get any cornier, Mother Abigail shows up to say, "It sure can, sugar." And why would you ever think that this series couldn't get cornier? The most badass thing that happens here is that she makes Stu think he's living in a Clint Eastwood movie. If you're looking for the last piece of coyote poop, I already had it for breakfast. You snooze, you lose. At this point, he's gonna need something magical to get him out of this hole.
Take my hand!
Well,
I said something magical, not someone magical. Finally, a proper team-up, since Gary Sinise was actually in of Mice and Men. The others are having such bad luck, they'll wish they broke their leg. They're being round up to be fed to the tigers in Randall Flagg's magic act.
One less rat man in the world. Shut up that honky voodoo.
Serves them right, though. Now they're racist against rat people. It was you who brought us the twist ending in this Italian propaganda film. Just don't hurt his guitar because, seriously, why does he have that? Okay, just because the director of Animal House is right there doesn't mean you have to smash a guitar. They're preparing to sacrifice them to the Las Vegas god of Carrot Top. He's gonna make hilarious props out of their femurs. But first, we gotta get to our opening act. Bob Geldof is about to perform live for all of us. It's the best opening to a human sacrifice.
However, those of you with small children are excused.
I mean, Las Vegas still is a family city. Well, we just started with some of his sweet illusions for the magic act, when it just had to get interrupted by Trash Can Man being a little too late to Comic-Con in his Maz Kanata cosplay. Hurry, save the day by showing something from the trailer.
He's got a bomb!
Running out of that budget there, better hit the slot machines. Lloyd, however, cannot shoot him. Killing people with radiation poisoning is over the line. I'm sure something will happen randomly.
Here we go.
Maybe it's too late to be asking this, but, what?
But Marion, keep your eyes shut! Now your face isn't gonna melt! You'll just be left really confused!
What's there to be confused about? Mother Abigail's gonna blow up Randall Flagg, her boys, and a whole city which apparently still has kids in it.
Yeah.
And then the budget whittled down to zero, so they sat there and watched a drive-in screening of the day after. At least now they're remembering people I've heard of.
What about Glenn and Larry? Pharrell.
And what about the rabbits? An even bigger kick to the balls as they finally give them a car. Still works like shit, though. It'll be around mile 4 that they finally realize they
After the explosion, it goes on for 20 more minutes.
That he finally gets sick like everyone else did.
I'll be alone still. Got hit for me still.
That's your diaper. Get that damn thing out of my face. I suppose it would be annoying to survive a mass extinction event and then still die of an infection, but a big old hunk of cheese will save him.
Stu said you were dead.
Stu's very sick.
We asked for Johnny Cave, but Soda Pop Curtis will do. He shows up to give him the right concoction of infection medication.
Mick told me. In my dreams, you can talk. Did I ever tell you that?
God, this man is my only This is still going, and the less their predicaments get, the better their transportation gets. They even bring a snowmobile just in case they want to stay the night at the Overlook Hotel.
Yeah.
Plus, Stephen King is standing nearby to give the movie a downer ending at moment's notice if need be.
I don't exactly know how to tell you this, Stu. Well, it's the baby.
What did you do, Stephen King? What shitty thing did you do to the baby at this story's conclusion? The baby's got the flu. It's okay, though. Ghostly Nick will show up to give him some Flintstone vitamins. Anything else?
Just waiting for it to be over.
You're waiting for this to be over. Right now, it's Sans, Randall Flagg, and Harold. Why is this still on? Hell, the baby turns out fine. Plus, the doctor also tells them that he's dropped off their package containing a crib from Amazon.com. Now all that's left is to rub it in that Larry is still way dead. Now is not the time to tell her you only survived because you fell off a cliff like a jackass. Oh, did I say that's all that is left? It isn't. It saves its corniest moments for last, complete with a dog reaction.
All those empty cradles.
Pig baby.
And yes, they're gonna keep going with this.
Ain't you beautiful? Just as gorgeous as dawn and eve.
Oh, my God. Well, best remember those who have fallen like it's an award ceremony. There's Ozzie Davis, that girl, that other girl, John Casey, Hugh Cronin, Richard Coyle, Lloyd's favorite actor. Now it's up to them to repopulate the world, or at least portions of Colorado.
And that's it.
Maybe the world should end. Well, what I'll say about this is that, despite its mixture of highs and lows, it's consistently entertaining because of those highs and lows. There's great things here. The bleakness of part 1, awesome. The dark music montages, awesome. Gary Sinise, Miguel Ferrer, Randall Flagg, awesome. Harold Phase 1 sucks. Harold Phase 2, awesome. Oh my God, when it gets corny in ways that always happen when King adapts his own work, it is so cheesy that even the Kendrick brothers and the Hallmark Channel would send it back to the chef with a complaint about far too much cheese on this grilled cheese sandwich. The movie's half Andromeda Strain and half Left Behind. What? But it's got enough strengths to see why it got decent enough reviews and kept viewers so engaged that it was watched by an average of 19 million homes with little to no drop-off over the 4 parts. It even got a fair amount of Emmy nominations and one for makeup. Yeah, I guess trashes, I suppose. I can still see how a lot of this could be improved with the upcoming 10-part miniseries remake, which we'll see if that gets pushed back or not. As for me, I'm gonna remain in my war room to talk more about end-of-the-world disaster movies. You know, to get your mind off things. Ha ha! I'm still hilarious.
And that's it.
Woo. Just a lot there.
That was that was a long ass review, I admit. But entertaining, and I watched this a year ago and got me really into checking out The Stand and such. What did you think overall of Brad's supersized episode?
I thought he really went at the end there where he talked about the characters. I think he really nailed the quality there where he talked about the awesome parts and the terrible parts. I completely agree with all of those assessments.
I'm a little mixed on Gary Sinise, but I agree, like in part 4 at least, Jamie Sheridan as Randall Flagg was the main thing carrying it. I mean, he just is pretty much the embodiment of slick and evil there, and I was just hooked on every word he said, and even if the writing wasn't the best.
Right. And I definitely appreciate how he talked about you could definitely feel where the budget started to slip away. The effects got worse and worse, especially through episode 4.
Yeah.
You definitely felt a little Langoliers there at the end.
I don't know if it's that bad, but yeah, when he transforms.
Yeah, and the hand and the bomb and oof.
That's one other thing I want to talk about. When it started at episodes 1 and 2, which I do like, it was very, it was a virus horror movie. But with episodes 3 and 4, it became more supernatural. It definitely had heavy religious themes, particularly in the episode 4. Like many people, I found this kind of interesting because Stephen King has always, for a lot of his work, when talking about religion, it's usually to either dump on or highlight what he sees as the evil hypocrisies of some religious people.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of weird to see him do a story that paints religion in what appears to be a positive light with Mother Abigail.
Yeah, definitely one of the redeeming characters in the film.
I also took the time to screenshot this comment someone made, where they said, when asked about the religious aspect of this movie, King said his aim was to do his take on the hero's journey, narrative set in a uniquely American modern way. The HJ always has a mystical element to it, and to him, the only thing that made sense to be both mystical and modern America was Christianity. The structure of the story he's telling literally required him to do a positive take on Christianity.
And I definitely agree with the hero's journey piece. I think it's a little bit more Dark Tower with that hero's journey. You definitely felt elements of that when they're walking across the highway. That's almost right out of the Dark Tower series. And then of course the direct connection with Randall Flagg there.
There were a few parts, like when I watched this, I was honestly getting angry when I watched part 4. And the parts that made me the kind of the most frustrated, because I was like, how dumb can you get, is when Stu falls and breaks his leg. And when they say that they'll go and get him something, like they'll find something to get him out, he tells them, no, leave him. Just leave him as he is, saying if he dies, he dies, if he lives. It's God's will, because that's what Mother Abigail kept saying. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, if you want to be a religious person, that's fine, but don't lose your common sense. And the reason this gets on my nerves is there are some people who are like this. Like people that refuse medical help because they think it'll work out however it does. And I actually, no joke, read this story once about this guy who did one of those faith tests, you know, where they put themselves in peril. He had them drop like a ton of concrete, like a literal ton, on top of him, saying they thought that God would protect him, and no surprise, he died.
Maybe not so much. But it's similar to trying to get to Las Vegas with no food and no transportation.
Yeah. And last thing I'll say that kind of got on my nerves was when they blew up Las Vegas. Because you had all these characters traveling from Colorado to Las Vegas with no food or water to face Randall Flagg. And when they got to Las Vegas, they didn't really do much. All they did was talk to him and scream that he's the bad guy. They really didn't do anything.
You're expecting the big showdown.
And then the trash can man comes in, again, character I didn't really care for, with the nuke, and then the hand of God comes down and blows up Vegas. Here's the thing, the trash can man was doing that stuff with the nuclear bomb all on his own, no connection to Flagg or the people coming from Colorado. So I'm thinking the stuff with the nuke, that probably would have happened regardless if they showed up. So what was the point of them even going?
The hero's journey, the quest, all meaningless.
Yeah, other than to die. And as Brad pointed out, there's apparently still kids in Vegas, so they're dead.
So King reaches page 1,000, he knows he needs to wrap it up, and he fumbles.
And then he drags it out for 20 minutes of them going back home. I know people like to joke that he can't do a good ending, but holy shit.
This is the granddaddy.
Mick Garris, the guy who directed this, same guy who directed the awful Shining miniseries, you know, with Steven Weber.
Yep.
And I'm noticing he seems to work a lot with King, and the stuff he directs, usually King himself writes. Seems like Garris is one of those guys that King hires, not because he's a good director, but because he will do whatever he says.
I mean, working with King must be tempting because there's so many good stories that he's created over his decades of work. But there needs to come a time where the director says, no, that doesn't work. And stand up to him maybe a little bit and say, this is my movie, you gave the inspiration, and maybe say, this really doesn't make sense where you've gone the last 7.5 hours.
King, like, I'd like to think that there'd be somebody with the balls enough to ask King about some of these questions, like, why did they go here? Why did they not help him out? Why did he choose? That kind of stuff. And they'd be like, I'm asking because you wrote the damn thing, and you can't act like this is a adaptation where the people making it didn't get it, because you also wrote it. So if anyone would know, it'd be you.
Maybe he doesn't remember this chapter of his life very clearly at this point.
Hard to say what he can remember these days with all the drugs and car crashes he's been in.
Still one of the greatest authors of our generation.
He is, but he's got his faults at times. And that was our reaction. Glad I got my special shirt to wear for this.
Well, pandemic wear.
And even though it's been a year and things are a little better, we're not over yet. And I think this review will stick with people, and the mini-series will stick with people for quite some time.